Hello. Good evening. I know. I know. If you wonder what my shirt says, it says I just want to work in my garden and hang out with my chickens. But anyway, I'm a couple of minutes early, and I know this was a impromptu live broadcast this evening. I've been very busy trying to fulfill my obligations to the people that elected me, and it's been a lot of work over the last couple of weeks. So when I looked, I realized that I had not been on in a month. Oh my gosh. And then I started getting text messages. So I'm okay. I want y'all to know I'm okay. I'm just a little tired, and I appreciate you contacting me, emailing me, and checking on me and my family. We're doing fine. We're just tired, had a lot going on, and and now things will be settling down for me. I'm back in my RV. This is where I escaped to. So I'm back in my RV, and I'm going to be here for several days before I go back and have to resume some other duties and things. So, anyway, welcome back to the broadcast, and please let me know where you're signaling from. Put it in the chat, and let's talk. Let's talk. There's a lot going on, and I think there's a lot of pollen or something out here. Anyway, there's a lot going on, folks, and I've been trying to keep up with what's going on, even though I've been very busy. At night, in the evenings, I try to catch up and see what's happening around the world and how it will affect us. Hello, New Jersey. Good to see you. Um, Make sure you guys click the thumbs up button because YouTube's trying to hide my channel. They've been I got a whole lot of subscribers and they're not pushing my video out because, they don't like people coming into the knowledge of the truth. So, anyway, hi, Diane. Hello, Brooklyn, New York. Okay. Listen, if you guys see me keep rubbing my nose, I don't know. I'm out here in the country and it's like, I don't know what's happening out here. I've been in the city for several days and now I'm out here and it's like something's itching me. Anyway, so tonight, hi, Laura. I know Cincinnati, Ohio, in the house. I know it's been a while. I'm. I would say I'm sorry. I'm kind of not sorry because I really was fulfilling my obligations as a state committee woman and being sitting on these different committees that I needed to sit on, and was privileged to sit on. Was honored to sit on to uh, represent the people, and the people have to have a voice and they chose me and others to be their voice at the state level, and so that's what I've been doing. Anyway, if you looked at the title of this, I said they are here. I think you know who I'm talking about. They're here. Our borders have been opened for a long time, 4 years. I have lost count. Homeland Security has lost count. They don't know how many people are here. What they do know is that there have been um, people who have made public declarations that they wanted to do us harm, and this administration has allowed them to come in. Now, at some point, I hope you have woken up and understood what I have been saying to you months ago, a couple of years back. They don't care about you, okay? They don't care about you. And I also want to address the Black community. I hope you understand that you are being replaced by all these people that are coming in because the policies and the schemes that have kept our people mentally enslaved to racism and all this kind of stuff that has kept you from looking forward and always kept you looking backward, right? Therefore, you couldn't progress because you're always looking backward, because you always had the race baiters and the pimp, the race pimps and all those people out there always talking about something that never really affected you, and kept you from your dreams and kept you from succeeding. They always want you looking backwards because they can never, ever let you see your potential in the freest nation on the planet. Okay. So you're being replaced because a lot of people now in the Black community are waking up and understanding and realizing that benefits and privileges that should have been afforded to them as citizens that were struggling or citizens that were in a hard place financially, you have been denied that. And yet, people who have made public declarations of hating you, calling you the great Satan, have gotten more than the government that you pay taxes to has ever given you. You're being replaced. Okay? Because now you've woken up and now they don't need you anymore. They've lied to you for 60 years. They've told you, oh, you need, better education and all this kind of stuff. Look at your community. What's better? What's better? What has gotten better in the last 60 years? What promise has been kept? How much money have you seen? I mean, come on, folks. At some point, you're going to realize that you were duped. Okay, you were duped. They wanted you to stay in an attitude and a mindset of offense so that you could not see your own potential. You could not see all of the opportunities and the privileges that were put before you for you to succeed. They wanted you blind to that so that you would keep voting for stupid policies that were literally keeping you in poverty. Okay? Are you getting it? Are you getting it now? Now that other people are coming in getting stuff that you should have been able to get when you were in a hard place, but they told you you made too much money, right? It didn't matter what your skill level was, didn't matter what kind of talent you had. None of that mattered because you fell through the cracks because you made too much money to get any help, but you weren't making enough money to make it either. And somehow people who don't even speak your language, don't respect your country, and have told you that you don't get no more money. It's all for them now. That walk through our streets, beating our police officers within an inch of their lives, and being let out of prison with no charges. Okay? Are you getting it that you're being replaced? Okay. Let that hit you because I've been telling you this for 40 years. I've been trying to tell you this. People got mad at me. Not that I care. I got pretty tough skin, so you could just go jump off a bridge. But anyhow, yeah, I've been trying to tell you this. They don't care about you. They don't care about your children. They don't care about your grandchildren, your great grandchildren. They don't care. Now, if you let your mind roll all the way back to when they just bust the borders wide open, and then the baby formula start disappearing off the shelves. Remember that? And it was intentional. There was no shortage. They were sending it to the border, giving it to illegal people to feed their babies. They didn't care if they took food out of your grandchild's mouth or your child. They didn't care. They still don't care. Okay. So now that that's sunk in, hopefully, they're here. What are you going to do? Because this government is not coming to help you. They're not coming to help you, folks. I keep trying to tell you that. They are not coming to help you. Look at what they've done to the food. Every 2 weeks, twice a month, there's some other kind of viral something that has attacked the food. They don't want you eating meat. They told you that. They want you to eat bugs. They told you that. So how convenient is it that twice a month now, something's wrong with the beef, or they recalled this, or where are they sending all this stuff to? They ain't throwing it away. I can tell you that much. The migrants are throwing the food away. because they say our food ain't good enough for them. They're throwing it away. They're throwing away your tax dollars if you still work. Yep, your money's going in the garbage bin because they don't like the meals that they're being served. They don't like it. So, they're just throwing away your money. That's what they're doing. And there you go. So, what are you going to do? What happens when November rolls around and there's no election? Now, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying nobody told me. I want you to think about that. If you think there are not sleeper cells in this country waiting for their orders to cause all kinds of chaos and mayhem, you're asleep. You need to wake up. There's no way in the world all these people can be coming through our borders. Homeland Security has been told to stand down. They have lost count. Years ago, 2 years ago, they lost count of how many people were coming through the border. They know who. If people get flagged in the computer system because they've already been tagged as a danger, right? For one reason or another, some people have been deported 5 and 6 times and they keep coming back. They commit crimes and this administration lets them in and lets them out of prison. Yeah, oh yeah. The president, vice president, they go down there, take care of their bail and let them out. Why? Because they want to. This is an army. Okay. So when the last administration said this is an invasion, he was absolutely right. How in the world can you open your borders to a country, not know who's coming in, never make any steps to try to remedy the situation, and then call somebody racist because they want to protect the citizens? Are you seeing the stupidity of this? Are you understanding how dangerous this man is? Or the people behind him? He's just a puppet. He doesn't know what day of the week it is. Okay, so he's a good fall guy. But the people behind him, the Pelosi's, the Obamas, the Clintons, all these people that are behind this poor guy who is suffering from elder abuse right now, they're using him as a fall guy. They're using him as the convenient jackass to take the blame for everything that's going on. Everybody said, "Oh, he's doing this. He ain't doing it. He's not. He's not doing it. He ain't smart enough. He's not cognitive enough to do it." But it's the former administrations that are doing this, and they said all along, they campaigned all along that they wanted the borders open, right? So it shouldn't surprise you that any of this is happening when they campaigned on it, when they called the last guy a racist because he wanted to protect you, right? When he says we want people to come here. We want them to come here legally, though. We need to know who's here. If people are coming here with the intention of doing us harm, we don't want them in our country. So let's just narrow this down and let's just make it more personal. If someone got on the national mic or your local microphone, you're at a city hall meeting, and pointed you out personally and said, "I'm coming to your house, I'm taking your stuff, and there is nothing you can do about it because the local police aren't going to protect you. And I'm coming anyway. And if you try to defend yourself, they're going to put you in jail for xenophobia or whatever all else." Okay, this is how upside down our society and the societies around the world have become. So let me just say this. They're here, folks. They're here. They're here. They're here by the millions. They are waiting for their instructions. They've already been paid to do all this chaos and all this stuff. You see what's happening with the college camp? Listen, you got your kids in school, you better talk to them about getting out, okay? Because they're not learning anything except how to be offended and how to be stupid. That's what they're learning. It is a propaganda machine. That's what these universities are. Now, and I tell you, it goes a long way back when they started recruiting these college kids to do all this kind of stuff. I mean, I can't even get into the history of it because it's a lot of history behind it. There were groups a long time ago that were trying to overthrow the government and doing all this stuff, and the government literally gave them jobs as professors in these universities. I'm telling you, it's more than a notion. Okay, so they're here, and you need to be taking this very seriously. Now, listen, I want to say this up front. I'm not scared of nothing, okay? And I'm not scared of anybody except Jesus. I fear the Lord. That's it, okay? So here's the deal. You need to be thinking very seriously about what you can do to protect yourself and your family. Now, we've talked about this, I don't know how many times over the last 4 or 5 years. And you can't even walk down the street anymore without the threat of someone knocking you in the head and not paying a penalty for it. I mean, seriously, it's crazy. Our justice system is broken. Our judges have been bought off or blackmailed. We have people still sitting in jail from 2020 who did absolutely nothing wrong but walk into the people's house in Washington, D.C. They did nothing wrong. Nothing. They did nothing wrong. And they're still sitting in prison right now over trumped up charges that some woke DA who campaigned on destroying other people's lives have them sitting there with no representation. This is what's happening right now. These people have no respect for the Constitution. They have no respect for your rights. None. None. Okay? You have got to take this seriously. You stay peaceful, but you better protect yourself. You better know how to protect yourself and your family. You need to sit down, if you have not already, and have a conversation with your family concerning the what if. What if there is no election? What if there's no election? What if they declare martial law where the Constitution is literally suspended? You have no rights and they can do whatever they choose. I mean, they're already doing whatever they choose. But if they make it official and you're locked down, but the aliens get to run wild and do whatever, do you know that there are states right now where someone can take your property, squat in your home, and there's nothing you can do about it because they have more rights than you do? They have more rights than you do committing an illegal act than you do to remain in your own property where you've been paying taxes, paying the lights, paying the water, paying the whole 9 yards. And they can come into your home. If your home is vacant for 30 days, God forbid you go on an extended vacation, and you come back and someone else is literally living in your property. They have changed the locks. You have to take them to court, if you can even find out who they are, and prove that it's your property and spend the money to try to get them evicted. Yeah, squatters' rights. Have you heard about that? I tell you what. So here in Oklahoma, we've been working really hard, first of all, trying to get people out that are embracing these ideologies that bring destruction to our citizens here. And I've been in conversation with different people in somewhat high places about my feelings about some of the things that have been going on. I don't broadcast my conversations, with most people, because I don't have an agenda other than to take a pulse as to what's going on in our state and what I can do to help. I don't have to be up front. I don't have to grab the mic every time there is one. I don't have to do any of that to get my job done. So I'm in the background working for the citizens of this state and of my county to try to protect us. For example, we have our sheriff, who has been here for 36 years, is retiring. We have 3 people that are running for his seat. Next Thursday, I am sponsoring a forum. And I want all 3 candidates to come and talk to a room full of people and explain why they should be our sheriff. Now, I have personally interviewed all three of these men, had conversations with them, asked them some very tough questions, but that was off the record. That was, me in a small group of people, and sometimes it was just me. This time, they're going to be in the hot seat. They're going to be sitting in a public forum, and they're going to be asked some tough questions. And the main thing that I can tell you I'm personally looking for is if they understand the power that they have as the most powerful law enforcement entity in the county. So the question is, one of the main questions is this: if the federal government decides they want to start operating even more so in overreaching their power and reaching into the state or the county and trying to force on us things that they have no right to do because the states are sovereign, what are you going to do as a law enforcement person if they send the feds down here to start arresting people for no crimes? What are you going to do? How's that going to work out? Because you are the top law enforcement person in this county. How do you intend to protect the citizens? That's a real question, folks. You need to understand and know where your law enforcement stands on this, because if you have people in the sheriff's department, on the city police, or whatever, that are for the policies that are moving forward right now, you have no protection. You're on your own, okay? But at least, at least, if you have people that are in law enforcement that understand your constitutional rights to live and exist in peace without the government reaching into your home and telling you that you have to allow someone who came here unlawfully to occupy your home, or that if they attack you, they're not coming to help you. They're going to help that person, but they're not going to help you. We need to understand where these people who are applying for this job, where they stand. So that's just one of the things that I'm going to be doing and talking about next week. Because whoever takes the job has a big job on their hands when it comes to protecting the citizens of this county, especially when you have the government who is against you and against your rights and your right to exist peacefully and to prosper and to be in health. Okay? Now, on to the next subject. I do hope you're watching your money. You may have heard, maybe you didn't, about the continuing bank failures that are going on. They have so screwed up our monetary system till these banks are getting, the smaller banks are being swallowed up. The smaller banks are being swallowed up by the bigger banks. And the bigger banks that are swallowing them up, a lot of them are crime syndicates. That's what they are. They have been crime syndicates for a very long time. They have stolen people's money. They have closed their accounts and taken their money without cause. Didn't tell them why, just did it. Refused to do business with them. And when you look behind the scenes, most of it is because of their political position. If they are for freedom, if they are for liberty, if they are for punishing crime and closed borders and things like that, well, they get wind of that and they just start closing your account. They don't care whether you can pay your bills or not. So having said that, it would behoove you to have some money set aside. Yes, I know they're screwing with the monetary system. I know that. But until we transition over to something else, whatever it is they're trying to do, you need to have some cash on hand. There have been an enormous amount of cyber attacks. I can't think of the pharmaceutical, I can't think of what you call it now. But anyway, they are responsible for most of the prescriptions and stuff that get funneled from hospitals and from doctors' offices to this particular place, and then it goes to the pharmacies, right? Well, they got hacked last month. They got hacked, and they were told by the hackers, we'll let you back into the system, but you got to pay us some money. Now, I don't know what the amount was. I know it was a lot. And guess what? They're still locked out. They paid the money and they're still locked out. So, in a lot of places, the pharmacies cannot fill prescriptions unless they're script, unless they're written. You know how back in the day, if you needed a prescription from the doctor, he literally wrote it on a piece of paper from a tablet, and you took that to the pharmacy. Well, that's what some places have had to go back to because they are locked out of the system. So when you look at this, what these powers are trying to do to our country is death by a thousand cuts. Okay, so it's the whole thing is we're going to attack the food supply. And the thing is, the government is cooperating with all this. This administration believes in what is happening right now. They're helping to they're helping the progressive movement, you might say. So they, don't look to them to help you because they're the ones that's doing it to you. But anyway, so I had mentioned to you guys a long while back. I said you need to start looking at your health, paying attention to the medications and stuff because they were coming from China, they were coming from India, and we are not in a good place with China or India right now. So I said to you all, you better stock up on what you need right now. Find a natural equivalent to what you take as a prescription and stock up on that in the event you can't get the medication from your doctor. So, and I don't even want to talk about the whole medical community. That's a whole that oh Lord, that's a whole nother thing. I mean, I literally fired my doctor. Fired my doctor and lodged a formal complaint against that quack that called herself a doctor that wanted to double the dose of a medication that I gave her a 17-page report on from 15 or 16 of her colleagues that said this causes diabetes. Okay. And she wanted to double the dose. And I said, yeah, I don't want to take this no more. She says, in my professional opinion, you need to double the dose. Oh, so you want me to be sick? Then she wanted me to have an invasive procedure done because of a test that came back positive 2 years ago, right? I was sick when I took the test, so I knew it was going to come back positive. I had to get a different doctor to write a prescription for me to do the test again. Did the test again, got the results that this was she's going by 2 years ago. I said, can I get an updated test? She didn't want to do that. She didn't want to do that because if she went by the results of that test, then that would lead to a more invasive procedure for which she would get a kickback. I'm telling you, these people are nuts. I did the test again last week. I write into the VA, hey, what are my test results? Oh, your test came back negative. Well, how about that? I knew it would. You got to take your own health into your own hands. I'm telling you, as much as possible, because there's not a level of our society that has not been demonically infiltrated. I don't even know how else to put it, but it's some bad actors out here, folks, and they don't care about you. They want you dead anyway. They got this whole depopulation thing going on. And in case you didn't know, the 27th of this month, the World Health Organization wants to take control of our country. They want to take control of the UK. They want to take control of all these other countries because they want to be able to take away your right to your body sovereignty. That's what they want to take. They want to be able to declare a pandemic whenever they want to, force you to take medication that you do not want to take, either for conscience sake, for religious reasons, for whatever. They want to make it a crime for you to say no. They want to put you in jail or some kind of a concentration camp for exercising your bodily autonomy. This is the 27th of this month, folks. The 27th. You better call your legislators and tell them, yeah, tell the WHO no. Tell the World Health Organization, that's a no for us. Okay. This is how the citizens have to get involved, right? If they don't hear from you, they'll just do whatever they think is right. And if you happen to have a legislator who happens to be on the side of the criminal activity that's going on right now, you better do everything you can do. Get with whoever you need to get with, find a patriot group, and vote these people out. I'm telling you, because they don't care about you. They really don't. And they have a completely different vision for this country. Do you know what their vision is? No USA at all. That's their vision. That's the vision. Anyway, so I had to kick some people off my channel. Let me just put it like this. I politely invited them to get out. Okay. Um, I'm not a person to mince words. If you've been following me since forever ago, when I started this channel back in, I don't know when it was, 2014, 2013, 2014, and it started out just showing people how to take care of natural hair. Um, I've come a long way since then, still taking care of it. What do you think of that? But anyway, um, things have changed. And I felt a moral responsibility to help educate people as much as I could on what was going on. Now, some people feel like, oh, you just fear mongering. Oh, well, you're an idiot. Okay. Look right here. Look right here. You're an idiot if you think it's okay what is going on right now. You're an idiot. Get off my channel. Okay, moving on. And welcome to the rest of you guys. I'm sorry. I am flat out of patience for people who are so weak emotionally that they absolutely can't handle what's being said here when the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the news. Even the mainstream media, which is the propaganda arm of the communists in this country, is telling you what's going on. And you don't want to believe them either? Yeah, you're an idiot. Okay, so I can't help you. Nobody can help you until you're willing to face the truth. So I have no problem with you leaving. You will not be missed. Okay. God bless you. Anyhow, let me look at the comments. Who else did I make mad? Anybody else want to go? You know, Jesus had to do that when he talked to his disciples. Everybody was leaving, and he looked at them and said, "You gonna leave too?" So, I think the way he said it was, "Will you also go away?" Well, that's the whole point. You gonna leave too? Have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? You need to check your check your emotional maturity. All right. Nobody likes what's happening in the grocery store. Nobody likes the fact that they're trying to cut us off completely from meat. Now, some of you don't eat meat. God bless you. Have you looked at the weather lately? There are people who have completely lost their whole fields of potatoes and stuff because of the rains. It killed their crops off. So when they're messing with the weather and they're causing tornadoes, there's natural elements that come into this, but there are unnatural things. They can mess with the weather. They can manipulate the weather. We talked about this before. They can manipulate the weather. The thing is, are they manipulating it for good or for bad? If there's a drought, they want to seed the clouds. I'm not really for that because that stuff, used to be a time you could catch rainwater and it would be okay. It was almost cleaner than city water. You can catch rain. You can't, don't do it now. And if you do, don't drink it unless you purify it. Why? Because they have put so much barium and all this other stuff in the atmosphere that the water coming from the clouds is contaminated. It's contaminated. And not only that, but now a couple of weeks ago, something like 15 million gallons of raw sewage escaped from a treatment plant and went into two major rivers on the East Coast. Really? How did that happen? So this is what I mean by bad actors. They have people stationed in every city in this country to sabotage things, to upset our society, to upset uh, anything that's going on. The medical community, the water, the sewer, the cyber. You name one, they're in there. And this is why you have to take care of yourself. Okay, I'm going to read your comments. Diana, your hair looks so beautiful. Oh, thank you. God bless you too. Thank you so much. Verandia, how are you? Eyes wide open. That's so funny. Oh my God. So listen, folks. They are messing with God's business, and I'll tell you what. Remember that movie came out years ago? Your arms are too short to box with God. I'm like this. I'm gonna get the popcorn and see how this. Because let me tell you something. When He says that's enough, that's enough. He's coming for you. And I'm just gonna sit back and watch and be like, I'm glad I was on the right side of Jesus when all that hell broke loose. I'm telling you, my attention and my energy is going to people that are paying attention. I want to do all I can to help you prepare and to be as secure as you possibly can. Because we absolutely we can't really stop a lot of this stuff that's going on because we're not the decision makers, although we should be. Constitutionally speaking, the governed are supposed to be telling the governors what to do. All right. This is why your voice is important. This is why there has been such psychological warfare against the citizens of this country and other nations around the world. It's happening in Norway. Sweden has fallen. It's happening in the UK. Ireland has fallen. All of these, Canada has fallen. It's terrible, and the citizens are they're getting sick of this mess. And that's what it takes. It takes people who will not say, "No, you better not say nothing." Like I had some people on my channel before. I hope they're gone. Anyhow, you better not say nothing. They probably voted for this craziness, and now they don't want you to say anything about it because you might get in trouble. Listen, do you think that we have fought in wars, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, all of the lives that have been sacrificed so that you cannot be a slave, so that you would be free? I think to say nothing and to do nothing is treason. That's how I see it. Now, I'm also speaking from the mouth of a veteran, and I have a special allegiance to God and country. And so I may see things a little differently than people who don't have any faith in God, who don't believe that there is a God. But I'll tell you what, and I know some people like that are on my channel. And listen, that's your business. So if I can't approach you from that perspective as being a God-fearing person because you don't believe there is one, let me approach you this way. Do you like the price of eggs? Okay. Okay. Let's just get down to brass tacks. What about the price of gas? Okay. What do you think is happening in society right now? Where do you think your money's going? Do you like the fact that your tax dollars are going over by the billions to fund a war that nobody asked you if you wanted to be in? What about that? What about the fact that all of our sons and daughters from all over the world are being sent over to these countries to fight and die because the people that are pulling the puppet strings are greedy psychopaths? How you feel about that if you don't believe in God? You okay with that? Because if you're not okay with that, then you too ought to be doing something, saying something. Talk to your legislator, call them, leave your name, leave your message. And if you're an elected official, if you're a state committee person, if you're whoever, you have more weight than what you realize. They know that when you're sitting in an office like that, you have influence over the people. We just had an election here for our party. And I'm telling you, I ain't never seen a sweep like that other than what happened in our county. I've never seen a sweep like that where people decided they were tired of the establishment or what they felt were establishment people. Establishment people are people that are in the party. They have been in the party for years and years. They don't want anything to change. They've already made their connections. They already feel important. They don't want anything to change. So they want to hold on to their seat. Not because they want to represent you, but because they feel powerful, because they feel, and they are very dismissive toward the voice of the people. Well, I sat in a meeting with almost 1,000 people, and I'm telling you, probably 800 or 900 of the people cut the head off the snake. Okay. Those people no longer have those jobs. They were voted out by a majority. Now, that's how they felt about it. They cut the head off the snake. So I'm like, dang. Anyhow, it was an experience. I'll tell you that. But this is what you have to do. Will we win the war? We can try. If you don't try, what are you going to tell your posterity? What are you going to tell the people coming behind you? My great grandchildren, 2 and 3, have no idea what's going on right. They have no idea how I'm standing in the gap for them so that they don't grow up in a concentration camp. They have no idea what I have to go through with people, the duplicity of people that are around me that think they have me fooled about who they are. It's amazing. Just because I'm cordial to them doesn't mean I can't see them. I can see them. I know what they're about. I don't give them my time. I really don't. I mean, I'm cordial. If they say something to me, I'll say something to them. But other than that, we're not having tea and crumpets together, okay? Because I don't want to be walking out of the room pulling your knife out of my back. So I'll just leave you over there where you're at, doing whatever it is you do, and I'll be watching from over here. So this is you need wisdom. You're being surrounded by people that are phony, that are power hungry, or that are asleep, or that are in the camp with the enemy, in the bed with the devil. I'm telling you, it's crazy out there. And so do your part. Do your part to protect your life and to protect the interests of the people coming behind you. Because let me tell you something. None of us were here when the Revolutionary War was fought. But we're here because it was. None of us were here when the Civil War was fought and whites and blacks lost their lives because they wanted everybody to be free. Okay? It wasn't just black people that got hung. White people were hung, burned, the whole 9 yards because they stood with us. They walked with us. They marched with us. They did all this stuff. They were persecuted. Their families were torn apart. Just like black people, they stood with us. And they're not here today. And we are because they did that. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to take that for granted? What are you going to do? Because I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to do what I can, the very best that I can. I'm going to keep the duplicitous people at a distance because I'm not going to be distracted by their foolishness. I ain't got time for that. I got a nation to save, okay? I've got a republic that I do not want it to go down the tubes because I cowered in the corner and did nothing. You can make a phone call, for crying out loud. Make a phone call and say, listen, find out who your representative is. Call them and say, listen, we don't want to be part of the WHO's mandates to take over my body as if I'm chattel. Oh, I'm some kind of a farm animal that they can brand me or do whatever they want to do with me. No, no, that's it. Call them and say no, vote no on that bill. Okay, just tell them vote no. Anyway, y'all all right? I got to check and see because sometimes my hair be on fire. That's like, Lord, I better look and see who I done made mad. All right, let me see. That's right, Laura. The prayers of the righteous avail much. That's right. I've been praying, asking God to just move some folk. I don't care. Now listen, I ain't tell him how. I just ask him to do it. And usually when I've asked him to do it, he's done it. I don't care if he move them out of the state or if he move them off the planet. I don't care how he does it. If they are obstructing and perpetrating a fraud and acting like they are for liberty and freedom, and all therefore is gaining more power and climbing some kind of political ladder, they need to get out of the way. They are part of the problem. And so that's just kind of where I stand on that. Let me see, what else did I want to talk to y'all about? Y'all have any questions? All right, let me just talk to you real quick about your food storage. Everybody knows that the price of food has gone up. And you know, I want you to keep your ears open, keep your eyes open. If you're visiting with people and you know, you kind of get the inkling that they're not making it, they may not say anything to you, but if you have a little bit more, just offer it to them. Now don't tell everybody what you got because you don't want marauders to come and rob you blind, right? But if you can help somebody else, try to do that. I spend time trying to tell people how to prepare their food for long-term storage and stuff like that. Look for sales whenever you go to the store. Listen, you have to really read the ingredients on a package because they have messed with the food. I was listening to a news podcast today. I used to eat Haagen-Dazs was my favorite ice cream. It used to be Brahms, right? Not Brahms, Breyers used to be my favorite ice cream. And I stopped using them because they start putting artificial ingredients in their ice cream. Now, the reason that I liked them was because they didn't have anything artificial. Well, then, you know, the economy started changing a few years back, and then they started taking shortcuts. So I stopped buying Breyers. And I started, you know, spending the money and buying Haagen-Dazs. Well, now Haagen-Dazs has gone nuts and started putting stuff in their ice cream. It's like, oh my gosh. And somebody was reading the back of a container. I'll have to find the podcast, but he was reading the back of the container. And I I wrote in and I said, that can't be vanilla. Not with all that in there. And it had stuff. It had sugar. It started out with cream. Then it said skim milk. Then it started going downhill from there. Sugar. And then start putting all this other stuff in there. Corn syrup, potato starch. Hold on just for a second, y'all. Potato starch. Why do you need potato starch in ice cream? Crazy. Anyway, read the labels, all right? Some of this stuff is toxic to us. It's not good for us. And if you are a person that is dealing with a lot of inflammation, I guarantee you it's got something to do with what you're eating. You just don't know it, right? So, my husband and I, in regard to food storage, you know, we're being very careful about what we eat. And I'm already thinking ahead, right? Like, what happens if I can't get this anymore? If I can't get that anymore? But I've changed my diet because I want to make it as easy for me as possible because of the way they're messing with the food. Um, I want to make it as easy for us as possible to be able to maintain our health. We're working on it. I've lost 20 pounds. My husband's lost 40 pounds. And I'm not really dieting. I know my doctor asked me that because my numbers were looking so great. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm not dieting, my new doctor. I'm not dieting. She says, well, are you following a special diet? No, no, no. I'm just making wiser decisions about what I eat and when I eat, right? Like I kind of stopped snacking at night. Um, I've cut my carbs way down. And because they turn to sugar. And, you know, and like I told you, the last doctor had me on this medicine. She wanted to double the dose, and I gave her a 17-page report showing her how it causes diabetes and Alzheimer's. And she wanted to double. These people are crazy. I told the VA, I don't know what rock you drug that fool out from under, but you need to put her back because she's dangerous. Okay? Is she trying to kill me? But anyhow, when you go to the store, and I know it's tough now, it's tougher now than it was before. Just try to pick up one extra can of something. Um, but really start looking into what you're eating and how it's affecting you. Like if you eat something and you wake up in the middle of the night, you just hurting all over. I'm telling you, it's something that you ate. I personally believe, now I'm not a doctor, I ain't giving you no medical advice, but I personally believe that fibromyalgia and things like that the diseases that have your nerves aflamed all the time, I think is directly related to something in the food that you're eating. That your body is saying, yeah, this is not good for you. Okay? It may not affect somebody else that way, but it's affecting you that way. And the only way you can narrow it down is to do a process of elimination. And that is to slowly introduce stuff. Well, you may have to go on a fast and then slowly introduce one item, see how you feel, do the next item, see how you feel, do the next item, see how you feel, and then do the next item. And if it's like, oh my God, I feel sick, or I got a headache, or I got, whatever, yeah, don't eat that. Don't eat that one. Just don't eat it. Anyway. All right, let's see. Laura Logan, I hear you. My daughter is of Indian descent, and she was very upset with me because I wouldn't take the job. Listen, there's a doctor by the name of Sunil Dand. Sunil Dand. I will try to remember to leave. Um, he's on YouTube. I'm surprised he's still on YouTube. That man is crazy. I'm surprised he's still on YouTube. He's a doctor. He specializes, I believe, in internal medicine. And he said, if I'm sick, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not going. He says they're okay if you break a bone or something like that. He says, but other than that, I'm not going to the hospital. He says he couldn't believe the stuff he saw going on during COVID that he was not at liberty to discuss on YouTube for obvious reasons. But he said, yeah, if you can avoid it, don't go to no hospital because they're compromised. And you have doctors and nurses that are quitting the practice by the thousands because they realize they were used to commit mass homicide, genocide, demonicide. That's what it's called when a government turns against its own people. And a lot of these doctors and nurses realize that they were used, that their mercy gift and their compassion was used against them to deceive them into doing things that these pharmaceutical companies knew was ethically wrong to do, and they tricked these people into doing it. They tricked them into doing it. And now they're quitting the practice. They have to live with the fact that they were weapons against their own citizens when they took an oath to do no harm. Now, I'm glad I don't have to live with that. Really, I don't. And I feel sorry for the doctors and nurses that have woken up to the realization that they were instrumental in causing the death of thousands of people because they didn't know better, because they wanted to believe that the government had their best interests at heart. I really hope they've woken up and understood, no, they don't. And you need to re-examine yourself as to how you're going to treat humanity going forward. Anyway, does anybody have any questions? I'm so glad I got to be with you all tonight. I'm just now getting out here to my RV today, having been very, very busy for the past month, well, since the last time I saw you guys. And, um, I'm glad we can still connect. At some point, we won't be able to because they're gonna hit our grid. So, and that's the other thing. How are you going to communicate with your family when the internet goes down or the cell towers go down? Or because there was a thing going on not that long ago where they were blowing up these little power stations and stuff and setting them on fire I tell you, it's something else. It's like, yeah, what's going to happen tomorrow? Because somebody's always doing something. Anyway, thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me. And I will be back on when I can get back on. And please share the channel. They are shadow banning our channels, right? And the only way people will see it is if you share it with other people. And because YouTube is not, they're not promoting the channel. They really are not. When you go from 1,200 and something people down to 400, 200, 100, they're doing that. Because when I look at the subscriptions are going up, but the views are going down. And that's because they're hiding the channel. So the only way they can not do that is if you share the channel. So if you think the content that I bring to you is helpful, and maybe you've been trying to talk to someone and they're not really listening, you may want to consider sending them the link to this channel. And maybe, just maybe, something that I say will wake them up, and I just don't want anybody to get left behind or taken advantage of any more than what they have been so far. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. You could be anywhere else. And I tried to get a message out there as quickly as possible that I was coming on because I had time. I could finally breathe. We had got here. We got everything put away. And then I ran in there and got myself together because I didn't want to scare you because I was looking crazy. Okay. Tried to get myself together so I could come in here and look halfway presentable when I talk to you. And and I tried to get a notice out. So did you get the notice? Who got the notice? Just put in there yes. If you got the notice, put yes in the chat box. Because I know it was a last minute thing. You didn't. So you just saw me when I came on, huh? Wow. Well, I sent a notice out and I'm thinking it was like 6:30, maybe 20 minutes to 7 my time, Central Time. And I sent the notice out that I'd be coming on at 7. But anyway, thank you. If you didn't get the notice, LT, I appreciate you coming on at the spur of the moment like that, because I'm sure you could be doing something else anywhere else with somebody else. And you decided to hang out with me. Thank you, you guys. I really appreciate it. And so take care. Keep up with your food supply, your water, check your water. Get filters for your water if you can. And I'm not talking about getting them $500 and $600 filters. Any filter you can get that is better than none, right? Do the best you can. And just listen to the people around you. See where they are. Some people are waking up very slowly. Some people aren't awake yet. But the ones that are waking up, they're going to have an emotional crisis to deal with when they realize that they voted for the wrong person, that they was hating on the wrong person. Not that you should hate on anybody, but as imperfect as the last president was, he didn't do this to you. He did not do this to you. As a matter of fact, everybody was prospering. Everybody, okay? Most people were prospering. He didn't do this to you. So, that's why they want him in jail or they want him dead, because he's a threat. He's a threat. Let me tell you something. I just want you to think about this, and then I'm going to go. I mentioned earlier about the people that are still sitting in prison in Washington, D.C., political prisoners, for just being there. They didn't shoot anybody. They didn't break anything. They were just there on the grounds. That's it. They were just there. And they're sitting in prison. Now, do you think that this former president, if he did all the stuff that they accused him of doing, don't you think he would be in jail by now? They're just trying to destroy the man's life. They know they don't have anything on him. And then when they don't have anything, they just make up stuff. They just make it up and then they charge him with it. It's crazy. So anyway, pray for him. Pray for his family. This can't be easy for his wife and his children. I mean, this is just vicious. This can't be easy. Or his son, who they told him, if you go to his graduation, we're going to arrest you. What's the crime in going to your son's graduation? That kind of weird, that craziness. They just make up the laws as they go along. Anyway, just ask yourself, would you want it to be you? I don't care how you feel about the man. Just look at what they're doing and ask yourself, if they can do this to him, can they do it to me? Is that what you want? Yeah, then November's coming. We may have an election, we may not. But if we do, you better vote wisely. I'm going to tell you that. You better vote wisely and you better pray to God that God stops the steal, okay? That he blocks the steal and does not let it happen again. All right. Having said that, thank you guys. God bless you. Godspeed. Take care. And I will see you the next time I come on.